the start of the school, they could come brush hog the entire perimeter, which is just where the field meets up. You can see that grass grown up, it's into the bleachers and stuff. And I just asked if they could, in addition to mowing next week, put an extra guy here with a brush hog and basically do the small field all the way around the field. And it's
Yeah.
just, so it's basically the field meets
Yeah,
up
but that
the
also
trees
keeps the
and
ticks back.
that too. And
Do you
just-
want me to have Ryan do that?
What's
So
that?
you don't have to?
Well, I
Since you're on
emailed
vacation?
Russ, and Russ just
Okay.
emailed another guy, Justin, and said, Justin, get in touch with Matt.
Okay.
And in fact, when Justin, or whoever that person is, I'll just refer him over to Ryan, put Ryan in on the email, and
Okay.
just have him in touch with you
All right,
guys. But I
perfect.
basically said, just add it to the mowing, do the whole perimeter, and get rid of the
We
brush.
already lost
And,
one PE guy, I want him to lose two to Lyme disease. Stenrose,
Oh, yeah.
very bad. No, no,
Yeah.
push that, ticks will be in.
Yep, so I thought that would be a good thing. So Mike, I'll turn it over to you on the baseball field and where we're at and where we're going.
So thank you for your support. It's like 95% done. We just have to level off a little of the infield. We wanted to see how it would settle with some of the rain and stuff like that. So everything else is done. We're just waiting for the grass to grow. We spent a considerable amount of time on it, which was great. Byron is putting together his bill for, because they did that work, which was approved by all, and then the fencing part, I'll give all the bills to Sherry when they all come in, and it
Mhm.
should be under the $10,000 that was allotted. I think it came out great. We couldn't really go any further back with backstop distance and having some room around it. We gained about 50 feet, which is enough to get us off the
That's
dirt,
pretty
so we can
considerable.
play
Yeah.
soccer out there next fall, not this fall, but next fall, so we can keep most of our sports right here at school.
That's
Mhm.
nice.
Just help alleviate a lot of traffic going up to the park in the fall. It just makes a little bit more sense. So that hopefully will take place next fall. This fall we'll still play up there. So Byron and those guys, they did a great job. I spent a considerable amount of time down here as well, getting it ready to go because I wanted it to be done before school was. So while working with that, we did see that the apple tree is, I've never seen it like that, but is now essentially over on the grass, the crab apple tree. It's not a great apple tree, it's a crab apple tree. So I was talking with Matt, if we have money left over from the allotted, we were gonna have some work done by Bill Moran anyway in the beginning, but that didn't pan out. So we could ask if there's money left over to have that part of it and get that cut and
I
cleaned
think it
out
gave you
sooner
that
rather
time
than
just to
later.
do.
Yeah,
The
so
yard
we're just waiting
anyway,
to see
so
where
it's
we
all
are,
part
and
of
then
it.
if so, whoever can do it, but yeah, we gotta whack. So my question was, should we just cut them all? There's one left that's high, and the other two that are on the lawn,
Just
those
cut
gotta
them
go.
all.
You just wanna cut them all, just get rid of them now, and, yep.
They're
Makes sense.
just crab apple and they're just asking for, kids and apples.
Oh, they're everywhere too, I saw that.
In the fall, we just don't
And
get any other
bees.
projectiles and
And bees,
bees and stuff, so it's not like it's a Mac or
A beautiful
a
looking
beautiful
tree.
apple. It's just a crab apple.
And it's not
Nothing
even a
wrong
good
with
looking
crab
tree,
apple.
you
No,
just worry,
it's-
once you cut them, they're gone. So.
And that would also potentially alleviate your roof problem in the future on that shed.
Mm-hmm.
And it would just open up that area more so it can be seen and we can do whatever we want inside that area.
Yep.
Rather than just let it be dominated by the trees. So,
Makes sense.
I mean, I can call Billy and see what he can do if you want me to do that.
Absolutely, I think so. It's
Yep.
up there.
It shouldn't be that big of a deal for him to cut that and chip it. Other than that, if you have any questions for me, it's ready to go. We're gonna finalize the bases sometime this week, put them in, and then it's all done. And I'm very happy with it, with the way that it looks, and we can add improvements to it later if he goes by. I like dugouts, but right now
Yep.
it's nice as it is.
And I wanna make sure to thank you publicly here
Oh.
for what a great job you've done on that. It's really terrific. Thanks so
Now,
much for all your time and effort.
No, and what I'm most happy about too is the cost that you guys are able to do by using Rutland Town and using the services of, Rutland Town and being able to take, how many loads of fill do we need from the town out of the sand pit?
When
15?
we were all said and done, we were close to 50 loads of material that got brought in
Holy
through,
smokes, awesome.
whether that's And a lot of that was fill that Byron needed to get rid of. I mean, he doesn't need to stockpile the fill from their different jobs.
Mhm.
So a majority of it was that, and then we have sand, which is right up in the sand pit in the back as well. And then what we only essentially paid for was the trucking of the man driving back and forth, and those hours. But the only material that we paid for would have been 1, 2, 3, 4. It'll end up being 5 loads of clay and 2 loads of crushed black slate. So as far as material, and then the fencing, that's essentially well done. They also brought down topsoil for us,
Oh,
which was another 10 loads of topsoil, but that's included in that 50 loads of.
Mhm.
So there was quite
That's
a bit
awesome.
of stuff brought down there to bring it to where it's at. But yeah, you'll get the bill eventually
Yeah.
from everybody. So
But that was great. It came in less if we were to hire a contractor. I don't know
Oh, my
what it would have
goodness.
cost us, but it would have been a
you wouldn't
fortune.
have been able to-
We would have been at 50 probably by the time
It
they
would
got
have been
done with
very
everything.
expensive.
And so anyway, thank you guys so much.
Yeah.
And I was hoping by having Carpenter and Costin to mow down the brush
That would be
behind
better.
there, that we could then taper the soil. You'll see where the
Mhm.
field is to where it's hitting the
Mhm.
ground. It's still got to be tapered there, but the first step, get them in there. Bill needs to cut any more trees. I think you have, permission to take out. It looks like 3 or 4 saplings around there,
Potentially.
but now we just got to taper it down to the rest of the land and have it there. But anyway, it looks great, and thank you guys for everything. We wouldn't have been able to do it at this price if we went outside.
no.
And so we really appreciate the town's help, and that was just wonderful. So the next piece, I think we'll be moving on as well, of what we need to do, but the shed. And as I was standing out there, I looked around the playground, and I see everything out there is blue. It's a Rutland town color. And I'm looking at their old red shed there that we used to put the lawnmower in and whatnot. I was thinking we should probably maybe paint that blue instead of red when they
Yeah.
do
you
it.
paint it any color you want.
And so my thought is on the budgeting, we'll throw in, we'll have Ryan do an estimate for the shed for paint and the roof, and then we'll actually put it into the budget to have it covered. I'm guessing $3,000 for the new roof, and just do new plywood
I
on
don't
top
think
over
it'd be
it.
that much.
Well, in the painting. And
Yeah.
I figured between painting at the new roof, they're probably gonna have to do all new boards and then shingle it and then paint it. But I thought we'd paint it blue and then, possibly turn it over to Beth McReynolds in our class and have them do a big Charger symbol up there on the shed or something. But everything else was out there blue. I realized that right down to the playground set, to the new pieces we got, there was blue accents everywhere out there. And this red shed's kind of standing alone, so I thought. But anyway, hopefully we'll have that done next spring, next summer. And that'll kind of tie it together.
So you're saying putting it in next year's budget?
Yeah, next year, like November, we'll put it into the budget.
I'll write it
That makes
down, I'll add
sense.
it on the list to talk to Louis about it for you.
Now, if I could ask, I know there was vandalism or a car, where was that? Out front or?
That was out back, and it wasn't as bad as you can't even tell.
They wrote
They
out
really
on
didn't.
there,
They
but
just
they didn't
wrote
do
out. They
anything.
didn't really
Okay,
peel
didn't
as
dig it
much
up.
as they could have.
okay, cause I
So you
was gonna
can't
say in
even
the
tell
past
now.
we had some that
Yeah.
did that, but yeah.
You
No.
you couldn't. You could kind of look like somebody was out there, and then I went and I really looked at it, and they didn't even get to the dirt. So
Okay.
it was just
They drove out on
whether
it
they
and
were
came
bald
back.
tires or what. It didn't truly make. It's not an issue.
Okay, good, good, okay.
So now the fence is locked back up. So
Mhm.
all the work's been done back there, so there shouldn't be a problem with people
Oh, good.
getting back
good.
there unless
Yep.
they find another way. I guess all the power to them.
Have we got our security cameras up yet?
It's on the list.
Never mind. Oh, wait.
So that's all I had. Unless anybody
Yeah,
had questions.
perfect. Do you see anything else out there we need in the next year? Or maybe we'll talk to you around November that we want to add
No,
out there,
we've
but it's
Ryan
coming
and
along a lot.
I have talked to get on a maintenance plan for the field out back with whoever our mowing company is and moves forward, because it is a primary field. We did slice seed it and overseed it this spring. I won't be able to tell you. I mean, it looks like it's better
Mhm.
than it was, but that's something we'll look to aerate it next year, and just because it is a primary field that we use, and it's never had, since I've been here, it's never had anything
No.
done to it.
Nope.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Not a fertilizer, not a seed, well, I think we seeded it once.
Right,
Mm-hmm.
Nothing. And that's a primary field that we can now use for all our sports and for classes and every activity. It should be maintained for the use that it gets.
Mm-hmm.
So that's something I've been talking with Ryan and Deb about, and whoever our company is, factoring in some of those things into the price of the mowing, rather than saying, oh, I need you to see this. We get on a plan.
Yep.
of
Yeah,
what's
have
to
it
be
done.
done for
Yeah.
Outback. So, but that's up to you to decide those things. I mean, it's not very expensive. Amy, Ryan, and I even looked at potentially doing some of the work ourselves, because once we saw the price for one thing, and then I went and told them what I spent for one thing, our jaws kind of dropped, like, okay, we really could have done this by ourselves and saved a ton of money.
Yeah.
So, conversation.
Yeah, but you're, I hope you're getting paid for it,
For
all the extra work you've been doing.
Well, that was one thing I had talked to Deb about, and I was calling you about. It was kind of a gray area for me. I mean, I kept track of all my hours. I spent almost 40 hours here on that back project, and it was essentially Byron, myself, and another guy, Byron, every now and then, or Walt. But that's like a gray area. I wasn't sure
I would think that would be included.
because I
in
would
the
do it
10.
beyond my
Yeah.
I'm fine with
my
that.
No,
rec
I'm fine,
hours.
I'm fine with that.
But it's not a
because-
school thing because I don't get paid for the school thing. So
No,
Yep.
it should be
We'll
included in
see.
that.
No, I'm happy.
Okay.
We did cover that when it comes through, and I don't care if we went over by a bit, but that'd be my.
I really don't
position
think
on
you
it,
will.
so.
I mean,
Still
unless
not.
Skip really gives me a hard
No.
time in the fence, but I don't think he will.
Okay.
So he did a great
No,
job.
You should
too,
put
so
in for it. You,
We'll see. I thank you for that. It was my. That's just the way they are.
I know, I
Okay.
know.
Other than that, no, I think you guys have done great with supplying everything, and it just we get on the field thing, we'll be okay.
Yeah.
That's my making sure that stays healthy, so that our kids have a nice surface to.
Well, it's a
play
lot
on
of
in
pride too
general.
when other
It
people
is.
and other teams come and see it.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I mean,
it's
they'll look
nice.
at it now. The next thing is your scoreboard. So
Yes.
maybe we'll work on that. We'll find some donations
I
somewhere
mean,
of
it's
an outdoor scoreboard.
short that you have to stand up and try
No,
to
I
find.
now that things are kind of rolling, that's something we can look at. I mean, you all have connections with people, and getting a scoreboard, it's not like this big light up.
No,
just
no.
enough. We have a portable one that we use.
Yes, that little one, that's what I said, but
And it works okay.
everybody stands up
Yeah,
and
so
you can't see it.
So anyway, that would probably be my next thing
Yep.
we would look at. But other than that, you guys have been great. So we're very well off here, and you know that. We're very appreciative of that as well. So.
Thank you.
Wonderful.
Okay.
That's a
All
great
right,
thing.
guys, enjoy the rest of your summer.
Me too.
2
All right.
weeks left.
I know.
Thanks, Mike.
You're welcome. Thank you.
So I take it I don't see anybody else here. No more teacher, staff, community comments. Moving on to the consent agenda. Directors' orders. I'm sure I had approved those. Some of them are coming to me via email. We're doing them
Yeah, I've been
email
looking.
approval now.
I've been
so.
looking through them, yeah.
Yep, and I just take a peek, and anything questionable I send back, but usually I don't even have a question on anything, including today's that came to me. But anyway, the director's orders, approval of the minutes, any changes, additions, or deletions to the meeting minutes, or our last meeting?
I didn't see anything, but, it was so long ago.
Yep.
It would have to be really blatant for me to catch it at this point. I'll make a motion to approve them.
Have a second to that?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Superintendent's report. Judy?
Here I am. So the first thing I did, or what I've been working on for the past month, is just trying to meet with all the administrators. Let me know what's going on in their schools, update me. I say I have like a gap year. And the only ones I haven't met with are Sarah and Debbie, and we're gonna do that on Monday. Right. Yeah, so, yeah, and it's been good to see everybody and get updated, what's new and reminding me of things. And those.
Welcome back.
Yeah, thanks. No
Don't look so
laughing.
thrilled.
You know what, it's been kind of fun, it really has.
Good.
So obviously, we've been preparing for the start of the year. All the schools pretty much have sent out their welcome back letters and their packets, and Lisa Madison is the new assistant superintendent. She's been working with the coaches to plan the professional development for the year. They're going to really work on helping the teachers better understand proficiency-based education, give them resources and skills,
Good.
because that's what Lisa is finding is lacking, is the basic understanding, as she said. So she's been working pretty hard on that, and working with the coaches on how to facilitate, how to help the teachers, doing all that. We've got a letter ready to go out. It's probably gonna get sent out tomorrow, and it's for the teachers, but the first day for the teachers is Monday, the 26th. and they'll be meeting at Pulteney High School for their professional development and open day and all the hoopla. And then on the 27th, it's gonna be at their school building. And then on the 28th, the kids come. Lisa and I also met with the principals. Debbie wasn't there, she was on vacation, but Sarah was there to start looking at having some common language and policies in the handbooks. And my takeaway from it was really productive for the principals to talk to each other about, well, how do you do this? How do you do that? And they were pulling up like they'd say, oh, I have a really good blah blah for this, and they were sharing all of their resources. So we identified quite a number of common areas, and some of them are policies that we have to have by the state,
Right.
or I always say policies that will get you in trouble if you don't have it out there, like hazing, harassment, bullying, things like that, like the hot ticket items. So those are all going to be in the handbook, the same for everybody in the back of the handbook. One of the things actually that they do here that everybody really liked is it's alphabetized. And I was like, how handy is that? You can just find it instead of saying, what category is that?
Yeah, exactly.
Our plan for next year is to make the table of contents so that when you click on it, you go right to it. So
Oh,
you don't have
that's
to
awesome.
scroll through the whole
Yeah.
document. You click on the one
Yeah.
you want, and it takes you right to it.
That's nice.
So that's
But
for next year.
it was really nice to see them work together as a team. And then they identified things we can work over the year toward getting toward more common things. And as I said, not every school's gonna be identical because there are things specific to your school, but the things that can be common so that, if one school does it, everybody does it, and then parents can't complain or whatever. I think that will be a good thing. So we have a plan and we're gonna move forward with it. And then the collective bargaining agreement was settled. Hooray. The plan for the ratifications is that the teachers are going to meet on the first day for them, which is the 26th, to hopefully ratify the contract. And then we're gonna have a carousel meeting for all the boards at 5:30 on the 28th. That's right before the GRCSU meeting, and it was 5, not 5:30. I gave you the wrong time, sorry. And I also met with the union representatives to discuss how we're going to implement it, because some things are, start of school things, and we came to a nice agreement for how we're going to do it and have everything in place as soon as the contract is ratified. And they're reaching out to their membership, and I'm also putting stuff in the welcome back letter about things like the new start and end time. They have that floating day, that's the 23rd, but they'll be able to take it anytime during that week, that preparation day, if you will.
So you said that meeting,
That is the 28th at 5 o'clock. It'll be
5:30.
at West,
At
I thought
5:30
it
at West Rutland for the board's meeting, 6 o'clock for the regular meeting. That's what we had plugged in.
I thought we said 5. We
The,
thought it might take an hour, but if you wanna go with a half an hour, I'm good with that.
whatever you want to do, I calendared it when we met,
Right.
and I
Do you think we
calendared
can
at
do it?
5:30.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
we
no,
can
I mean,
do
we've
it.
gone over all the questions about it at the most part. Lewis was gonna do a brief, I think, presentation
Yes.
possibly.
Yes.
And then we were just gonna go ahead and
Okay,
ratify.
sounds good to me.
Yeah, I think we do 5. My thought
You
is do
think a half an
5:30 with
hour?
people getting out of work. And then, if we don't start the other meeting till 6:15, so be it.
Okay.
And
I'm
we'll
good with
probably
that.
run in the
Let
other
me
times meeting
note
instead of
that.
getting there earlier at 5.
So we're gonna be,
Which has a lot of people moving at 4:15 to get there, for
5:30.
Pulteney or where not.
okay. Believe
So
it or
that'll
not,
be
I'm not
5:30 at
working
West
yet.
Rutland, so.
yeah.
I think I put 5 down.
And then the other thing I've done for the board members that are here as well is that I've, if anybody had any questions about the contract, feel free to call Chris Leopold. So he's the attorney,
Yeah.
for the district, and he had done a lot of the negotiations and been there without, board members and whatnot. But I said if anyone had any specific questions, a lot of times we have board members with an interest in a certain area. I said call Chris, and he's happy to talk to anybody about the resolution that happened. And that's if we don't know an answer. But a huge thank you to Tim. I think he attended every single meeting and we needed to be there. Even ones I wasn't able to be there at, Tim was there. So Tim's really pulled through with us on time and making sure that Rutland Town had representation.
So we can't just have people call Tim?
Tim might know. So.
A lot of windshield time. Got one there.
Yeah, yeah, so it looks like and the business office is also working, getting the contracts ready, adjusting payroll so that once it's done, we can just move forward. Professional meetings and workshop. I went to a full-day workshop my first week on equity in schools. It was for all of the superintendents of Southwest area at the Poultney Inn. It's an area I think we're gonna hear more about at the state level, making sure we have equity plans and things like that. So I talked to Deborah and she said you probably should go to hear what's going on. So I did, and it was very good actually. And then Lisa Madison and I are gonna go to the Vermont Superintendent's meeting on September 19th, so we'll get an update on all the legislative items, what's happening at the state level, so I can bring that back to you. And I think it's important to bring Lisa, one, because she's now the assistant super, but also, you know, if I leave, she'll have that knowledge that she can transfer. So I was like, Lisa, you need to come with me. She's happy to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Be a good
Great.
learning experience for her, really. And then the last thing, and I did put the common, I forgot about that. It's right on the back. There it is.
Nice.
There's all the common things. And so the top part is what we identified as things that can be common right out of the gate, and everybody did that. And then the bottom are things that we want to work on during the course of the year, because it is things like a dress code, you know, and that's where we said elementary is different than high school. You know, some things are just different, and so some things will be just elementary, some things will be just high school. That's why it won't be totally common, but as much as we can get it together, I think would be a really good idea. And then we have the new calendar. That this was, I think, the most prized object since I've been there, that everybody wanted the day I walked in the door.
Well, I've gotten more calls on,
I
where's
know.
the calendar? It's not up.
And the problem was it was the negotiations.
Exactly, but
But it's there, it's out, and I think
Good.
everybody's happy.
It's on the website.
Yeah.
well,
on the
it hasn't
website.
been.
And one thing I
We did
didn't
last
say
week, put it
is
up.
Yeah.
they have hired a new web person. And
Oh.
so, at your next meeting, I will have Greg do an update. But basically, what she's doing is she's trying to make the old website updated for the beginning of school, because it takes a long time to put together a new website. And we've been working with her, like saying, like, for instance, board minutes. To find them, it took me quite a while. I mean, you really had to search. So we're trying to make it more user-friendly, just for the short term.
Right.
We're not making huge changes, but little things to make it, you know, putting all the calendars up and put the handbooks up and things like that. And then she's going to work on a new website, and she's kind of working with, you know, special education. What do you want on your piece? And forms, things like that, where people can go in, user-friendly, you can get everything there. And so she's been working really hard.
She's gonna meet with Sarah and I to talk
Yeah.
about what we want on there
Yeah,
too.
she's been meeting, you
And
know,
some office staff as well.
Yep.
Pam, and see what.
and it
be
might
helpful.
even be that we have an admin meeting and talk about it, you know, from a global level of everything, you know, because it needs to be the same for everybody,
Yeah.
whatever goes in
Right,
from
right.
different schools. Of course, they'll all be a little bit different, but, you know, I know SPED made a whole list of all the forms that could be up there, forms for teachers, forms for parents. Yeah.
We talked a lot about transportation and how we can streamline that a little bit, how time consuming that is. I mean, we can find a way to do that through the website.
And school events, not just this calendar, but
Right,
events,
right.
things like that.
Yep.
Yeah, so we're
Nice.
moving along. And that's it for me. Unless you have any questions about the calendar.
I
This is the year, I believe, with the long December
The long December.
vacation.
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
Does that happen how many years?
About every 7 or
Every
so,
7.
you get that. And then everybody's all happy, and then they get out later because it's 2 weeks, and I'm like, you can't have both, everybody.
Right, right.
So,
Yeah,
so
that
it'll be
is
2 full
ridiculous.
weeks for Christmas this year?
Yes,
Yep.
yeah, because Christmas is on a Monday,
When
and
Chri-
then you've got New Year's is on,
Christmas is on a Wednesday.
Wednesday, yeah.
I'm sorry, the
okay.
first day vacation is on a Monday.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, we do get complaints on why is it so long, and
Yeah.
our kids are always one of the last ones out of school, and
it is what it is.
Yep.
Worst case scenario is when you have a leap year and a 2 weeks
Yes,
Christmas vacation.
yes.
That'll kill you.
Looks all right. Do we have to approve this at all, or is that good?
No, it's.
We don't have to do anything.
Not
That's
anymore.
that.
Yeah,
Good.
you can't. That actually, there's, just so you know, we have to have 175 common days with all the schools that send to the tech center.
Okay.
And you have to have so many common professional development days, so those are all in the calendar, and the superintendents approve that usually in like January, February, and then they build their own calendars for that. But what we were waiting for was to settle the contract for the teacher days.
Right.
Yep. Perfect, thank you, Judy.
You're welcome. So for code principals report, we have a little new format for this year. It's talking about school initiatives, events, some PD faculty work, and then principal work, and then I added building matters, because there's always things here that you folks should know about. So, we're gonna have our back-to-school night on Monday, August 26th, from 6 to 7 p.m. And that'll be following the mandatory sports meeting for 7th and 8th graders from 5 to 6. The PTO is gonna host their back-to-school night after that, from 7 to 8. And they're still looking for people to help out with the PTO, so any help would be appreciated. You could contact Jill Alderman, Maggie Dodge, or Kelly Turner. Those 3 people are involved so far. I attended developmental designs training. It was held here, and we had 6 of our Rutland Town Middle School teachers here. 4 of them are new hires, and 2 are veteran staff, so we had a
Nice.
nice combination. And Sarah attended responsive classroom with 7 Rutland Town School teachers, including our new hire and some veteran staff as well. So they carpooled from here to Wells every day, which they had kind of a good time getting to know each other in the
Yeah.
car. And then we also had 4 teachers attend the Orton Gillingham reading training as well. So that, again, we have everybody, pretty much, almost everybody has that. If they're teaching any kind of reading or language arts, has that Orton Gillingham first level training, which has been great for
That's
continuity.
really good.
It's been really helpful. Our literacy specialists, interventionists have it, and then as special educators, almost all of them have it, and the classroom teachers as well, so it's pretty cool. Everyone's working in the same direction, so it's nice. Sarah and I attended the collaborative practices course in July with the other SU principals. That's the picture there. So we worked with a gang. That was the gang from that was the True North people.
I've been hearing about that all summer.
This was the True North people, the ones who like just go in a direction and go. So we laughed that we were all in the same group together. Worked together. And I went to the VPA annual conference last week. It was really interesting. A lot of the things on equity, what you were talking about, was a big focus.
That's a big buzzword these days.
Yes, between equity and training for trauma and students with all kinds of issues are really big. So there's a lot of interesting things there. And the thing that popped up to me most was about building relationships between adults and students, parents and teachers. I mean, it's really important. So that's going to be our focus for the year, is communication and building relationships throughout the school. So that's what we kind of, Sarah and I have talked about and decided to look at. And we've been we finished our schedule, we've been reviewing all the handbooks and making all the changes to those. And then in terms of building matters, Ryan couldn't be here tonight, but he sent me a little addendum. He was planning on being here, but something came up family-wise, so he couldn't be here. But the HVAC controls are on the go. It should be completed, in a timely manner. They're still working on a few things, but all the cabling is done for that. Now they're just hooking everything up. And then the unit ventilators, we'll be ordering them from the vendor by November 15th, and then as they come in, we'll install each one individually as they come in. The glass, the school guard glass, Portland ordered over 150 pieces of glass, and they're actually going to be on site this week. So they weren't here today, but I expect to see them here. Maybe not tomorrow because it's supposed to rain, but on Wednesday. So they're going to start on the main doors, and then they'll start working on classrooms. And school has started, when we do that, we're just gonna be a little flexible. They can do 1 or 2 classrooms in a day, so we might combine classes for a part of a day while they're doing a classroom, but we'll work something out that
Okay.
we can make something fun and educational and still give them opportunity to replace the glass. The cameras, the company that was doing doing the cabling, they ran into a snag. Their main guy was in the hospital for a little while, so he couldn't do the work, so that got postponed a little bit. But they've been here, they were here last week, Friday, and they were not here today, but I expect to see them tomorrow to finish the cabling for the security camera systems.
Okay.
And then once that cabling is in, it'll be finished up. The cabling's supposed to be finished by the end of this week, and then the cameras will be installed. So Ryan's been charged with royals about that. Couple of miscellaneous things. We had a minor little flood in Miss Du Bois pre-K room due to water changes in water pressure. Luckily, nothing was in it because they just finished stripping the floor, so there was nothing in there.
Oh,
when
good.
Oh, we got lucky. So we had a couple of boxes of ceiling tiles in a storage room and a drill that got damaged, but that was about it. And there was no damage to any of Mrs. Du Bois' furniture or anything else because nothing was in the room. Our classrooms are all but finished. The last 2 classrooms, the furniture was put back today. So now we just have the library to finish, and the cafeteria floor is being stripped today because Tapestry vacated that space on Friday, so we started right in on that. So we're in really good
Awesome.
shape for rooms and that. And then we had some glue from the tiles in the nurses' room were coming up, and we, just to be on the safe side, we had it tested. The glue is fine, there's no asbestos in any of that glue.
Okay.
Underneath that flooring, when they put that flooring in, there is old asbestos tile and mastic. This is over the top of that. So to repair it at this point, we're going to take out those few flooring planks that are a problem. He's gonna take out that glue, put new glue down and new flooring, and then we're just gonna keep an eye on it. We're wondering if the oozing is caused, but we thought there was a leak in the toilet there in the nurse's office that we fixed. We don't know if that slow leak was causing that, or whether it's a moisture problem with the slab in that area, we're not sure. So we're just gonna keep an eye on that, but we're gonna repair it. He's supposed to come this week to fix that, and then we'll just keep an eye on it. But in the meantime, we should, at some point, start to think about the other few rooms in the primary wing that
Right.
still have carpet over the old asbestos tile. We might wanna think about, that carpet is getting pretty much near the end of its life, so we might wanna think about planning for that and how we wanna do that. That will require abatement of those spaces, but it would be better if we planned for it. So that's where we're at.
Budget item,
What's that?
a budget item.
The budget item, yeah. Something to think about.
Perfect, thank you.
All right, thanks.
So moving
Oh, wait,
to-
I have one more thing.
Yeah,
Ooh,
I have a list of our enrollment as of today.
today, did you lose some?
Oh, no.
You didn't? We should have.
Au contraire,
Should've.
we gained some, and we're gaining, 3 more people came in. They came in today with 3 more students. Just so we keep them. I know that.
Okay, so I was thinking
But-
we'd lose some.
Nope, not yet,
Huh, okay.
but possibly 3 more on top of what we have here from
What
phone
does
calls we had yesterday.
TA stand for?
That's teacher advisory.
Oh, okay.
So each teacher advisory has those numbers in them. So we try and keep them fairly even, and they are right now, so. Fifth is 34. And we've been getting lots of new kindergartners.
It's not surprising, they always seem to creep in on us.
Wow, we got a lot in kindergarten,
Yep.
43.
That's why we made the 3rd section, and it's a good thing we did.
Yep, you're
Because
right.
of the 3 we got called on today, 2 of them are in kindergarten.
Oh, geez, thank goodness.
So does this number reflect today? Or
Well,
no?
we don't have the paperwork on those three
Oh,
yet,
okay.
so there's possible 3 more.
Okay.
We stayed right at 41 for third grade. That's what we had predicted in the spring. We're at
Yep.
41. That was the discussions, and right now it's falling at 41.
And we got, one of our new ones is a tuition student from Stockbridge.
Really?
Healthy
Looking good.
enrollment.
We're looking good.
That's great. Just for my curiosity, over the years, have you seen a trend of either up or down, say in the last 5 years?
The enrollment data we're pretty level.
Yeah.
We stay around 350. We
Okay.
go up a little bit, but like 3 or 4 above, 3 or 4 below.
I was gonna say for at
For the
least the
last
last
7 years.
Yeah, 7 or
so
8
it's
years.
very
We
Oh,
looked
yeah.
at that
That's
earlier
great.
this year. Yeah, it is good.
Didn't know if there was a trend up or down.
It's everybody else seems to be going down. We went up a little, but
Yeah.
now we're staying right around 350, give or take.
360.
Yeah. Awesome.
Glasses.
That's amazing, boy. We're really light on that second grade class too. 25.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that one's small, but
It happens.
Yep.
It's been amazing. Just some years and there's something else. Great. Thank you very much for this. That's great.
Yes,
That's,
love
I
it.
like to see that. That is wonderful.
That is-
So moving on to the monthly budget update.
Mhm.
I'm just going through. It looks like this is sent to us from Lewis.
Yeah, he's on vacation this week, so.
That's good. And so Lewis is predicting, I think among the things, Lynette's always our budget hawk. She doesn't miss anything. She'll catch anything in here. But now we got more money than we planned on, which I always enjoy. Lewis had predicted, I think the forecast was 75, and that's
Yeah.
now up to 123.
Yeah.
That looks to be total. And I think if I'm not mistaken, we had already spent a bunch of that, which
We
was
did.
the teacher for 50, 60, somewhere in the neighborhood
Yeah.
with benefits and everything
And
calculated
special,
in.
then we get a, I don't wanna say special teacher,
the math intervention.
there you go.
Yeah, the math
That's it.
interventionist, yep. And that was gonna be for middle school, am I correct?
Yes.
Right.
Yep, that was the math interventionist for
Good.
middle school. So we have that money out of there. We then have the 10 from the ball field.
Yep.
So, but either way, it looks like we have some surplus funds,
Good.
which is,
Well, hang on to it, cause you can never tell.
yeah,
My thoughts exactly.
Good.
especially with all the different
Healthy.
projects going around, so that's good. Anybody wanna spend any more time on this? Are you happy?
I'm happy, I'll look at it
Perfect.
later.
You're happy, I'm happy. You always know where the money's going. You catch so many things that I just don't even see. The banking resolution, do we have something we need to sign tonight
Yes.
for a banking resolution? That just on the bond stuff, and different
I
things
know,
that
I'm
have
not
gone out.
seeing it
Yeah,
in here.
no.
This is the
The
last,
third
this last
slide.
page, the one that says GRC.
No, but that's just the
That's just the
explanation.
explanation.
Hang on one sec, maybe it just got shuffled around a little bit. Even. So basically, the banking resolution is just because there's been changes in
Okay.
personnel.
Oh, okay.
And so let's go over what Lewis had, because if
Oh,
it's
is it?
missing, we'll just have you sign it later.
Yeah, no, I'll sign it later. I think we're looking
Yeah.
at two different things, though. The one at the end is regards to the resolution that we signed before we went on break,
Oh.
which was asking for the makeup of the
Right.
GRCSU to remain
Right.
the same with 3 voting members from each district versus
But he also had a bank resolution, which you might be able to just pass, and it was basically just changing the signers
Oh.
on the accounts,
Okay.
because I'm here,
Right.
you know, there's different personnel, and.
You just need a motion to approve the
to-
resolution?
Yes,
Then you can sign
and
it.
then you can sign it when you come in, because I don't see it in here, I don't know what
I'll make that,
exactly
I'll make
happened
that
to it.
motion. And if you find it, you find it.
Yeah.
I don't see it
second that
here.
motion to have him just sign when it comes in the resolution.
Second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Nope, motion carries. Perfect. So, and the other part is just minor. We left off at the springtime about it. Right now, each district has 3 voting members in it that belong to GRCSU. IRA has 1 person, but they don't know in school. So we were made up of 10 board members. The current, the proposal is to make the districts based upon the number of students within your district, which then gives you a greater share of voting. If that were to take place, the new law the legislature's considering enacting and actually making it a law versus what we have on the ground now, based upon the per capita rate, Corey Valley has the majority of students in our district. Corey Valley would go from 3 voting members to 5. We'd still have the same 10 member board, but Corey Valley would have 5 of those votes on there. So what I basically said was, I'd like it now in that every district has 3. No one really has any power. It's spread out, and it's interesting. You go to every district, and they're all claiming to have no power because there's only 3, and you need
But
6 votes for anything.
That's democracy. If one has 5, if even one other person is absent,
Yep.
then they can pretty much do what they want that night.
Yep, they either, if one person's absent, they can do whatever they desire,
Yep.
or if they convince one other person, say for example Ira,
Right.
which is not running at school, then they will
Right.
carry the vote in there.
Right.
And they
it's
only get
just
to have 1 representative though.
right. No, yeah, but
They
if
don't
they
have a
hook with
school.
that 5th,
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah,
they
with the 5
automatically
from,
got 6, and
so if they have 5, they just need either 1 vote or 1 person not to show up, and then Corey Valley controls all the meetings. So I know Lisa's been very outspoken about this, and it's something that they feel is a fairness issue based upon the number of students. I think it's fair set up now. If it slants that way, there's going to be a lot greater power in
Yep.
Corey Valley. But we started dividing things up 2 years ago during the merger process, where we now pay on a per student basis into the SU, whereas before it was divided in thirds.
Right.
So that cost us a substantial amount of money in Rutland Town. So we're basing the cost on per student, which is more than fair. I don't think the voting necessarily needs to follow that. So
Right.
we passed the resolution, a bunch of schools did and went up there, but I can tell you Corey Valley didn't sign on to it. So there has been a little bit of tension over that issue because Corey Valley feels strongly about it. We had previously voted down their attempts to switch the board
Right.
dynamics. Now it's up to the legislature, so we'll see where it goes. So we signed a resolution saying we support the current method in which we've drawn up the lines for the district and the voting members, and we'll see where that goes. And so anyway, but that's what that last email in the packet is about. So is there anything we need to do on professional staff appointments or support staff? Anything we need?
Just the contract recommendations that are here, I think we have to approve those.
Okay.
We had hired Alex Bruno to do some extra summer maintenance, and Chris Alexander, who was a student who just graduated from here, who worked for us for a little while this summer, did a great job. And then we have our pre-K paras that are moving from the GRCSU to the local budget because they're gen ed paras working in the pre-K. And then for extracurricular, we had the teachers working on summer school, Mike Rose, athletic director for the school year, Aaron Audette for jazz band and marching band, and our 2 soccer coaches, Marisa Keyfavors for girls soccer, and Corey Pollock for, I should say boys soccer coach, not girls soccer
Okay.
coach.
That's
The
what I was
second one.
questioning is, so that's boys?
Yep, that should be
Now-
boys.
Okay.
And we're working on a cross-country coach. I think we have that sewn up, but we don't have that. That just happened today.
I make a motion to accept the contract recommendations as forwarded to us for the staff, support staff and extracurricular staff.
Second. Second, any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Chair's report, I'm gonna go into old business. So first thing, I'm gonna skip around just to touch on old business. So the enhancement policy, I've been hearing more about it this summer. Parents have asked me, and they would like to see this. We've chatted about it. I haven't had a chance to follow up with Greg, nor have I run into Greg. But it would be to mirror, at least at Rutland Town, what's going on. I think it's CVU up north does it. We talked about this with the grading system. Whereas we have the 1, 2, 3, 4 scale, and it's done in the first decimal point anyway. So you get a 2-3 or a 2-8.
We do now.
Can the principal's office set a grade with that? because a lot of parents have requested that and saying, well, why can't we do? So I know Rutland High is resisting that and not going in that direction. Other schools up north are doing, jump rope can handle it pretty easily.
Rutland High had already been doing that,
Oh,
switching
no,
it to
the-
a numeric, to a 100-point scale after that.
Yep, but they don't have it in the parentheses, which was the old A plus, A minus, and that's what I think CVU up north has. So they have the point scale, which you could have a 3.2, but they set up a range, which is an A is 3.5 to 4. So beside your student's grade, they get a 3.1 in parentheses is the old letter grade.
Okay.
Because the parents are finding they can't do anything with a 2.8.
Right.
2.8, should I whip my child and make him study more, or should I pat him on the back
It's
and
kinda
tell him
true, though.
congratulations? What do I do with a 2.8?
Yep.
And so anyway, but
My-
I'm hearing that that's really
My suggestion would be that this is something that the high schools are all working on together.
Yeah.
Yes.
I can take it back, and I think it's something that all of the administrators should discuss together. And certainly bring Lisa Madison into the loop, because then she's
I'd like us to
taking-
be consistent with everybody else for middle school.
Mm-hmm.
And
I
maybe
think that's
see
it.
what, get the feelings of the principals and what they think they could or couldn't do, or what their proposal might be, to take a look at it.
hmm
I'll write that.
So my only comments on that, we have to do something, and if it's to follow the CVU model, whoever the school is, it's one of the big Burlington schools that
Yeah.
did
Right.
that, and then has it in parentheses. And the only reason I say that is because I've looked at a bunch of report cards, and I haven't seen anybody that got higher than a 3.1 that I'm aware of anyway, and the ones that and people that I'm familiar with. So again, the parents are led to believe that a 3 is just, all right, you're meeting proficiency,
Right,
this
and
is
that's
where
where
you
they're
are,
taking it.
and
Yep.
to find out the highest grade possible that I'm aware of right now is a 3.1. In my students or my son's class, the highest grade is a 3.1. So again, so he gets a 2.8. So 2.8, do I make him work harder, and did he slack off, or was 2.8 fantastic? And this is coming down with a 2.2. Is a 2.2, is this bad or is this good? But I've heard numerous stories now of parents whipping their kids because of a 2.2 to a 2.8, and then they go follow up with the teacher, and the teacher's like, your student's doing great, they're doing fantastic.
You need to follow up with the teacher before.
Yeah, before you whip them.
Well, the other thing that's different with proficiencies
Yeah.
that people need to understand is you might get that, but the goal is by the end of the year, it's up here. So it's just a different mindset. Like if they're like, say, a 2, it means they're learning it,
Mm-hmm.
but they might not have mastered it yet. But you want to look at what's the end result at the end of the year.
But they want to
Maybe
make sure,
that's
what
when-
I think what it is in the old way,
Yes.
we had a monitor, okay, they are getting better, and instead of waiting to the end of the year, because I think that's why we have
Right.
that problem at the end of the year with, okay, your child needs to come to summer school because they did, what? And, well, I've gone to the parent teacher and everything is great with my child. What happened? So, and we need a
What
way
you're
to
really
bridge
talking about
that.
is called a dual grading system,
Right.
where you look at the proficiencies, but you're looking at the letter grade too.
Right, just so the
And that's
parents have a
something we
better
can
way
talk
to.
about.
Yeah, and we've been talking too, Rocky, about the difference between work completion and yet mastering the skills and the concepts. And they're very different. I mean,
They are.
in the old system, if you didn't complete a bunch of things, you could fail. Here, we're making the students, we're holding them to doing those assignments until we can see that they can, that they've achieved that goal of mastery or worked on that skill. And then we don't make them do a whole lot of extra assignments once they show us they know how to do it.
Right.
So we're really trying to pinpoint it so that it's, it's showing mastery. And it's a different mindset because it's not just checking the boxes, yep, did that. It's like, did I do that well? So
But it's just some way to
different.
make that transition because it's been, 3 years
It's
now?
tricky.
No, it is, and
And
the problem
they're not
is
getting it.
the parents and myself included were still in the mindset of the A, B, C, D, and and I'll tell you a classic example
Hard.
is what the parents are most upset about, and I hear out there is that no one's holding any students back. So what's the difference between proficiency and the other system that we had for grading? Because truthfully, we're not holding anybody back even if they're not meeting proficiency. So the student's not meeting proficiency, okay, it's been identified.
So, but we're not holding anybody back, you know, traditionally, because that comes with some serious social and emotional consequences
does.
with it. Not because we just don't want to hold them back, because there's problems with it. But number two, the system and the way we're getting into the end of the year, there was a number of kids that were told this year, you know, you may benefit from coming to summer school. It's not mandatory, but it's an option. And parents lost their mind because they hadn't been contacted all year. So I think that's great that one of the focuses this oncoming year and the incoming year is that we focus on communication with the parents, because that's quite a shock to go, hey, your kid could
yeah.
benefit from summer school, and the parents going, I haven't been contacted once. I had parent-teacher conferences with you, I checked in, nothing, and then all of a sudden my kid's on the need of school. So
Well,
it's,
I mean, our view on, we're gonna call it Summer Academy from now on, is not that it's punitive, it's that for students who might benefit from really having just a little bit more time with something, or just so that they don't fall behind in the summertime. And that's what we're looking at it for, and
I mean, but can we
specifically-
do it before the end of school?
Oh, sure.
I mean, it's
Yeah.
just that, that last quarter, they heard nothing until
Well,
they got that, so I'm just, you know what I'm
Yes,
saying.
and that's one of the things that we have on our list to work on with the middle school teachers, is what our criteria are, so we're all on the same page.
Okay.
and We have the right information, and it's very individualized for each student. It's not like they all come and do the same thing. Every child is different, and they're each doing something different when they come to the summer academy.
yeah.
It's based on what their needs are, what their skill deficits are, to make sure that they're ready for the next grade level.
Okay.
That's really the goal.
You're right, we need to change it so that it isn't summer.
It's not punitive.
But to double, and
Right.
that's what we're going to be working on, but to dovetail it back on the conversation, which was, so my kid was a 2-1 in January. How did we actually know what that was? And then the other problem is when we're coming in at parent-teacher conferences, say in January, February, you know, we come in, we meet with the teacher, and they say, oh, well, there's a lot of these proficiencies haven't even met because we haven't got to the end of the year yet.
Right.
So we can't really grade this stuff, and I haven't input stuff in for, 2 weeks on your student, so therefore this grade is still at a
That's a
2-1 and it
different
hasn't
issue.
gone up, and so, but anyway, the parents are stuck wondering then, well, really, what is a 2.1? What is a 2.1
and
median?
didn't-
Oh, your student's doing fine. Well, that's, so you can follow up with the teacher, but it's gotten to the point that the grading system of a 2.1 or a 2.7, the parents don't know what it means after 3 years. I can sit here on the board and say, I'm not fully sure,
No,
because
right.
all it directs me to do is say, I have to go meet with the teacher to understand what's happening.
Right.
So the fact is, we're sending this stuff home now, and whether it's a 3.1, a 2.7, or a 2.1, or a 2.0 for that matter, all it's telling me is I need to go to the teacher. I
But
gotta
now,
go and
towards
figure
the
out.
end of the year, when those letters went out, if I'm not mistaken, there was a great many of them that got them in the same grade, but it was only because some of their lessons weren't completed, and then they hurried up and got them done before the end of school. So I'm wondering why they didn't know it before they got the letter.
And it's a communication, but
And
type of
yeah,
thing, yeah.
and sometimes students don't believe that you're going to hold them accountable until you do, and we did, and I think that's part of it. Now they know we're going to hold you accountable. I'm sure we'll have a lot fewer letters this year, but we're going to work on the communication piece.
Good.
You're absolutely right. We're going to do it sooner,
Okay.
and we're going to have a meeting to discuss that with all the middle school teachers to make sure we're all on the same page for that.
Yeah, I'd be pretty upset at the end of the year if I found out, well, they slack. Well, when did they slack? Because I needed to know back when they were slacking. So,
yep. And there's still a lot that needs to be worked out, but I really believe right now that the schools can't handle the 1, 2, 3, 4. I just don't believe, because in order to handle it, the parents would have to comprehend it, and they're not comprehending what's going on without going to the teacher. So it's almost detrimental to send a grade home of a 2-4, because the kid might be getting whipped
We've been using
before
1
you get
through
in.
4 at the elementary school
But
forever.
does it have
Yep.
word descriptors?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
You know, like almost meeting.
and that's about all it
meeting,
says, though.
exceeding,
Beginning, approaching, meeting, and exceeding.
and
Yeah.
exceeding.
Yeah, and so I don't know how anybody gets a 4.0. That must be a unicorn. I'm not sure whether we handed out any in the school at all without identifying a student, but is there a 4.0 around here?
Yeah.
Have we gotten a lot of 4.0s?
We have some.
Yeah. Okay.
And
Well,
that's
that
one of
was
the things,
interesting, too.
and that's one of the things, though, that we're working on with teachers too, making it really explicit and clear what is required to achieve a 4.
Good.
And that's something that we've been really working on, because it has
I
to
mean,
be transparent to kids.
It
If they
does,
don't
I
know
was
what
gonna
they
say.
need to do, they won't do it.
I was gonna say,
Yep.
not only are the parents confused, There's students that aren't quite sure, I don't know what I can do to get any higher than I did.
Right.
They don't understand. So,
Yeah, it has to be really explicit.
Yep. So anyway, so that's a question, but I would like to, I'm gonna keep pushing on this
Yep.
every month that I come back as to whether we've made any progress on that, but the, you know, Rutland High doesn't wanna do it, but you got a big district in Burlington that's putting it right after and has decided that, you know, for example, someone gave me a screenshot of the report card that their son or child gets up there, in that district, and, you know, it would come in at, say, 3-4, and it would be translated over in parentheses, this is an A. And the principal's office would have set, and the board would have set the guidelines as to where it would be, but we need the direction from you guys is to say, is an A a 3-5, and
And
here's
that's
the
something we
range?
should all talk
Here's
about.
the range.
Right.
That's
Yep.
between
that's
you
a
guys,
big,
but it
big
We can all
conversation.
discuss that.
But, yeah,
It's on
so
the
anyway, but
agenda.
that's, I honestly believe the district should do that, because this year my understanding is with Rutland on the 1 to 4 scale system, the colleges didn't even know how to deal with it.
Right.
For the last couple of years now, the students coming out of Rutland. And in a lot of that, they'll get to what, the colleges are getting to what they would need through the ACT and SAT scores. So that's where they're looking at that, they're looking at extracurricular, but when they got to the 1, 2, 3, 4s, it caused some problems
Well,
with other districts.
No, Rutland High, they changed it to a numerical grade.
Yeah,
They changed it to a 100-point scale.
so now it's a 100-point
They,
scale.
no, they never did. They graded all the students' work on a 1 through 4.
Yeah.
But then they translated it to the 100-point scale for their report card and their transcripts.
Oh, for the
They've
transcripts.
always done that. They haven't changed that since I was there, in
Yeah.
the last 5 years.
So their actual report card had a numerical grade.
Yes, it did.
each one or just the final one?
I don't know, that's what I'm asking
Yeah.
Debbie.
What do you mean?
Each quarter,
Or
each
just final
semester, or
grade.
just the final grade?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
I wouldn't answer that.
Yeah, I ran into some
I know
problems
that on the
with
final
college.
one for sure is.
Yeah, on the final one, but I'm not
That's the
sure
one the
'cause,
college gets.
the
Right, but if,
Yeah.
I'm
Final
just
transcript.
saying if they can do
I'm not
that,
sure.
then what makes it
Well,
so
the college
hard?
wouldn't, you know, because if you're sending them out in say March, you wouldn't have a final grade, and you're sending your stuff out to your college.
Yeah,
So I
that's
would be
true.
wondering what the colleges got. And I heard through different admissions office that they were segregating because they didn't know what to do with those. So they kind of put all those schools, like say just Rutland schools or this school and another district's doing it. They put those in one pile, and then they took the traditional schools and the traditional grading, and they had those first. And that's what they dealt with because they knew them, and they didn't know what to do with the other ones necessarily. But you know, and that's when they start to look at scores, test scores, you know, activities and whatnot. But
And you know,
yeah.
they've really changed the way they look at
Everything.
students and everything at the college level.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just grades anymore, there's a lot of other things they look at. Like, for instance, the rigor of the classes that the
Right.
student took and things like that, you know.
Were they crocheting or were they doing
Correct.
geometry and
Physics.
algebra?
Calculus.
Exactly.
Physics, isn't that yours?
I'm a grade, I'm
Yeah.
a
So we'll look
4.0.
at that.
So that would be
I'll put
neat
it
if
on
we
the
could do it across the
agenda.
district too,
Right.
because I have no doubt that the other schools are struggling with, at least, you know, K to 8.
Oh, if we
High school's a different
something,
creature,
it will
but-
be probably
You
pretty
know?
much straight across.
And I think that's something that would benefit everybody from here to, you know, Pulteney, at least on the elementary side, you know, the K to 8 side. You know, high school, that's a different creature. But at the same time, you know, enough parents have asked me about it now, and someone just asked me last week, can you please, when are you guys doing the next board meeting, can you please do this? And I said, well, it's up for discussion again, so.
Yep.
See, one of the advantages we have too is that when our students leave here and go to one of the area high schools, or
Yeah.
even if they go somewhere else, our guidance counselor is in touch with the school. They make a very individual plan for each student along with the parent they meet. So it's,
That's
I
great.
mean, it's really done with that student in mind based on where, you know, where they are and what their goals
What they're
are,
gonna
so.
take.
Yep,
That's great.
so it's very individualized, so we're fortunate in that case.
Mhm.
We work closely with the parents on that.
Moving on, next topic, Cheney Hill School update. I had asked Deborah before she left to get the legal file. Did you get that in your office? Do you have that?
This is a report. I don't know what legal file you're talking about.
Oh, no, the attorney that was handling it was not Chris
Oh.
Leopold, so.
Okay,
I
I
wanted to
can-
meet,
I
I
can
didn't
check.
know what was
She-
needing to be done and where we were.
She kind of turned it
and-
over to Lewis. So,
Okay.
so what I have in here for you is just some updates of, that they're pretty much rocking and rolling on doing all the things they need to do. And what Lewis said, should probably go on your next agenda is once the work is complete, what you wanna do about putting it on the market. that's how close they are.
Okay, so it's about ready to go back out on the market again and.
Yeah, I think,
Okay.
within a couple months, Louis said.
Okay,
Yeah.
alright, good.
So he said, just put that out there so you
That was
guys
the part
can
I was
think
most
about it.
concerned
Yep,
about, is that
yes.
whenever it can go on the market, that we.
Yeah, he said they're getting close. That's
Okay.
what he told me
Okay.
before he went on vacation.
Good.
And if you think to ask Lewis, I'd asked Deborah and she thought it was, I did not see an invoice for it, so I had,
Well, he
I-
said because it's being paid for by some
Right.
kind of a fund, but right here it says, OCE estimates the cost to complete the well closures, the NTLR letter, and the recording of the letter with the town of Rutland, and preparation of the PCF reimbursement forms at $1,250.
you know,
Yep.
So that's how
most of
close
it
we
should-
are,
yeah.
that
So that's
Yep.
great.
they're getting ready.
Good.
Yep, no, that's wonderful. What I was talking about was Deborah and I could have sworn that we had a conversation back in the late winter about winterizing the school. The
Right.
cost should be around $800 to $1,200 in that
Okay.
range. Then Deborah, before she had left, I had just asked her in June, and she thought the weatherization had been done.
I thought so
But
too.
I don't recall ever signing anything for a plumbing company for winterization for Cheney Hill, and I don't think anyone can point me to a bill for that.
But regardless,
And
we gotta make sure
I'm
it's
gonna
done
write,
this
and
year.
was it done?
I just, so at the end of the day, before it freezes up again and we're
Yeah,
going into
we're getting
November, I would
close.
like to know whether that school was, in fact, winterizing antifreeze was, so basically what they do is they pump
Right.
antifreeze into the heating system and into the
We might have
toilets.
done that through our budget here, so let me check with Ryan on
Okay.
that too.
Yep, so then the real question is someone pump antifreeze into the water, for the heating system?
We did do that in the winter. I remember that we did it,
Oh, okay,
but
good.
Okay.
So I just didn't want the
That's
school
fine
to
for the
freeze up and us
confirmation. Yeah,
thinking
no.
that we had done it.
And if we did it,
And-
you
This
wouldn't
letter is really
necessarily.
talking about the closing the ground
That's
water
the well and the
Right, the wells and the
contamination.
contamination.
That's the contamination, not the
And
school itself.
preparing a notice to the land records for the
Yep.
filling.
Because otherwise, we've been paying for heat at the building at 50 degrees.
Mm-hmm.
So if it's been winterized, though, we don't need to keep paying for the heat and the heating oil
Right.
to
Gotcha.
go over there, because it's
Yeah.
been winterized and we're good to go, and no one's really using the space.
Right.
So there's no reason to be keeping it at 50 all winter
Yep,
long
we
when
can
it's 20
check on
below,
that.
so that would be it. Communication regarding resolution.
Already talked about it.
Yep,
Right, I
so
was
we
gonna
already
say,
covered
okay.
that, and I had nothing else tonight. We've worked through anything. New business to come up, anybody wanna put anything on the agenda, any new business out there or anything?
We should probably, possibly, if it's ready, talk about putting Cheney Hill up for sale.
Oh, yeah.
For
Well, I
next,
think we-
yeah, next meeting, yes,
Yeah, next
definitely.
meeting, not
Yep.
today.
We can chat about that, the realtor, same realtor?
Might as well.
Yeah, I remember we'd hired somebody from Rutland Town, but, it was being her line, I think it was Betsy Franzoni is the one who had it, and then it expired because of this stuff, but
Yeah,
she's already
we
done
had,
so
we had
much
told her to
work
hold it
and,
back, yeah. Well, she
Yeah.
knows it in and out now.
and she's already got a file for it and
yeah.
everything else, my
Right.
thought would be,
And-
especially the work Betsy's
Yeah.
done.
But you probably have it on the agenda, make a motion, make it official, next meeting.
Do you wanna just make a motion now to put it out to a
No,
realtor?
I-
It wasn't warned,
We've got the
so-
appraisal. we've got the-
I just assume
Wait.
wait till next
Yeah,
meeting.
it's
Okay.
not on the agenda, so
Fine.
we probably should wait
Okay.
and do it right.
Yes.
It's not ready anyway, quite yet.
Right,
So,
so,
Yep,
okay.
okay.
Yeah, because, I mean, we could make it and then come to find out they're not gonna pass or something,
right, exactly.
the way our luck's been going with it.
Perfect, so our upcoming meeting, our next meeting, September 9th,
Mm-hmm.
or is that, yeah, September 9th. Anybody have an issue with that? So September 9th, 6 PM.
Mm-hmm.
That calendar in.
It'll be October.
If anybody wants to
14,
do,
But that's Columbus Day.
well, we'll bump October when
Oh,
we get there.
the 14th. Hang on.
We have school that day, so we don't care.
That's right, Columbus Day is not really a
It's not
holiday
a
anymore.
holiday for us.
So,
I will not
Might
be
be for you.
there October 14th, just to
Might
let
be
you
for
know.
you
Okay.
guys, but some
I'll
So
be
we'll
in
take that up
Florida.
then.
Some places
Yeah.
are now calling it indigenous.
It's killing me. I talked to you the other day. You're in Maine. Didn't you were in Italy too? You were in Italy.
I went
at
to
the-
Italy. I've gone to Maine twice.
Did
yeah.
you retire, Lynette?
Not yet.
Oh.
Not yet. I'm trying to get all of it. No. No, every October I go down to Florida with the girls. It's just the girls'
Yep.
vacation. You know, where we don't have to get up and make breakfast and lunch and we
Mhm.
can go where we want and do what we want. Yeah, so I leave the 13th, so I won't be here the 14th.
Okay. Well, we'll revisit that September, I guess, and see where
Okay.
we get.
Okay, just in case, I mean, because I noticed you have the goal setting, so I just wanted to make sure that wasn't October.
Yep. Oh yeah. So goal setting. You don't know this, but I hate goal setting. Some groups it's great, and some groups it's not. And the only reason I say that is that we've done this at the Rutland Country Club every year. We have the meeting, we set the goals, and then no one looks at it again, and then we come back in June and we do it again. And you know, I'd rather just stick down to business. If I thought that we could be focused enough, you know, I think it's beneficial in a lot of departments. If you've got some teachers and you know administration and say, what are our goals this year? What are we looking for outputs? You know, it's one thing. With school board members, we meet once a month, you know, generally. Most of the time it's to deal with the issues that are coming before us. I think it's really hard for a board who's meeting really 1 or 2 days a month to get out there and set goals for ourselves. And the other thing that I've always said, and what I've enjoyed about the school boards, is that I've found either working here at Rutland Town or with the GRCSU, people are interested in something, they tend to move in that area. I mean, if they're concerned about budgets and grants, well, they end up over on that side. If they're, you know, more interested in, you know, like me, and making sure there's a new baseball field out back and let's clean the place up and make it look good, well, that's where I've gravitated towards. So people kind of find the areas that they want to be in, whether it's the policy committee, whether it's over on the budget, and
Right.
to set a goal on the board, I just found was completely unproductive and no one was visiting. But go ahead.
We can make sure that we share our continuous improvement plan goals. We have 4 goals that we use to guide us at school,
That
and we'll
would be
share
a
them
nice
with you
kind of a
so
little
that.
presentation you got.
Yeah, I
Yep.
could
Could
just
put on the
present-
agenda
And
and
Put
that's-
that on the
instead,
agenda
and then just
in lieu of
talk about that.
and talk about what those 4 goals are and what we're doing to achieve those.
Mhm.
Would that be
That's a great idea.
No, that would be great.
a good way to
So,
do
but
that?
looking
Bring
for us to do a
together.
whole meeting to set our goals and burn
Yeah,
up that
just do it as
time
part
is-
of the board meeting.
Sure.
Yeah,
Do you wanna do that in September? Have
Or do you
them
wanna have a
present?
sure. We'll just have a little
Sarah and I
presentation with
can
September,
share.
October, whatever you
I
guys
think
want to
that's
do,
a
or
great
November
idea.
when
Okay.
that's here. But
Okay,
Um,
so,
to waste a whole meeting for us, I just thought it
Yeah.
was wasteful. We weren't-
September is.
I can do it as part of our principal's report.
That'd be perfect.
Okay.
yeah, and I think it's good for the board to be aware of
What
what's
we're-
in it.
Yep.
Because it also affects like some of the money you get from
Mhm.
the CFP grant and things like that.
Yep.
I'm just wondering if you want the September one. I know it's for our next one, but our new teachers,
Mm-hmm.
where we usually try to get the teachers in and the new teachers, and we get to meet them, and we
When
usually
we go
have
to
a
a meet and
buffet
greet?
type thing. Yeah. I didn't know if you wanted to do that as part of the meeting, and the goals thing.
We could have we done that before?
We've had it. Yes, we've had the teachers in. If you remember, it's usually in the cafeteria.
I thought we did that in the winter. No, we don't do that. I
Well,
always thought it was like December, January.
we can do it in November if you want. November, and then we can also, if kind of feel out, you know, how's it going? Have you seen any needs you need that we're not meeting? That type of thing. It's all up
Yeah.
to you, but
Yeah, no, I would rather, to be quite honest with you, the dinner I haven't found traditionally, you know, productive. A lot of times I end up chatting with the
No,
teachers
that
that
other
I
one,
know,
but I'm
and then I
saying the
see the
one we
school
have
board sit there.
in-
But anyway, if we can convert that to this September and have
Yeah.
the new teachers come in and talk about it with some goal setting and what our goals are for the year, it helps the board. Number 2, we get to meet the new teachers then, and then there's no reason throughout the year to schedule
not
a
only
dinner.
us, but the people in the town get to see the.
Yeah.
Okay. So do you want them to come in September or November? What was your, I heard kind of both.
Whenever,
It's a-
whatever. September's
She's not
kind
going
of
to be here
quick,
in November, so.
or in October.
But
Yeah,
if-
I would just say
nice
if you
to
guys
see
could be
them
ready-
earlier rather
Okay.
than later.
So if you guys can do it in September, great. If not, we'll have to do it in November because Lynette won't be here. So
Oh,
Okay.
Oh, you
I'll
can
just
do
tell
it.
them
I
for
just won't be
September.
here.
We'll
Yeah.
shoot for
Yeah.
September.
Yeah. We can just
And
have
what are
them
you
come in.
thinking, like a little
Just introduce.
refreshments?
Do you want to do that before?
You wanna do a little social before, like 15?
we'll just get like a half an
20
hour,
minutes?
early, or half an hour,
5:30.
15 minutes, and
We can
5:30.
have light refreshments.
Okay.
just something that would be perfect.
Good, they won't have
Sometimes
to
I
eat
don't see
before I
faces
come.
throughout the
There,
year.
and I haven't eaten yet.
Yeah. Is there anything we needed to take on executive session tonight? Nothing we had to
from
go
me.
into. I don't have
Awesome.
anything, and We have nothing there.
That makes Lynn happy.
And so my last question is just for PEG TV. I did. Someone was watching at home and told me this out there that it drives them nuts watching our meetings because whenever we ask anybody to speak from the gallery,
Oh.
there's no microphone to pick it up.
Oh.
So they just hear silence in the meeting. And you hear a board member ask a question, and then someone in the audience, but they can't hear any of this at home. So you're sitting there with
You know,
dead
I don't know
air at
why.
home.
Very seldom do we have a group of people. The ones that only come one or two, they can come sit at a table.
Yep.
Really. Is that your money?
Oh yeah, some of those.
If you want me to speak to that.
Yeah, could we get an extra mic or?
Yes, but it can be hard to pick up a whole audience. So if we did have a microphone there, it would help if
Everyone got in front of it.
Okay.
To migrate to the
Yeah.
microphone.
I saw one board and it actually worked really well when they had people that wanted to make comments. They would have to get up and stand up at the mic
Yeah.
Yes.
and make a comment, which was really nice because you could hear them clearly. It also, if you had a contentious meeting,
Yes.
the precedent was already in place. It wasn't
Right.
like, this might be contentious, so you have to get to the mic. It was like, this is the way we do it. Please
Good idea.
stand up.
Good idea.
Mm-hmm.
And we can definitely provide a mic for that. It's
Okay.
just-
Okay.
Yep.
Good idea.
up to you to get
To
people
plan it
stand
ahead, yeah.
there.
And they would
Yeah.
ask them to introduce themselves
Yep.
too, for the minutes taker.
Yep.
And it
Do
was
that a lot
just
of
kind of
town
a
meetings.
nice formality.
Right. Good idea.
And so you have that capability though, the extra mics in the case and.
Yeah, we can do that.
Okay. Yeah, good. And it made sense because if you really are watching this from home and then the public's commenting, or we've engaged in a few discussions this year alone, they couldn't hear anything on the other side. So they'd hear our comments or us going, yes, yes, or we can make changes to do this, whatever.
Right.
But then all of a sudden it would go back to the other person talking and there would be silence and they couldn't hear the back and forth. And that made sense that if you are watching the meeting, especially, if no one's here like tonight, there's going to be nothing to pick up on. But otherwise, when we've had it packed in there, and some meetings, they can't hear anything coming from the floor.
Right, and so you've
Okay.
already got that format in place, so
Yep.
it will work
So,
out really
yeah,
well.
people coming will know
Mhm.
the format.
That's the way it goes.
I think it's a good idea.
Great. Awesome. Well, thank you guys for everything.
Yeah.
I have a motion.
Yahoo.
Motion to adjourn?
I'll second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries.
All right.
Thank you guys for coming.
You're